With EA announcing that there are no official plans for a Sims 5, I wonder what the future will look like for the series. With the focus on Sims 4 and pumping out new expansions, many are worried that this is the end of Sims as we know it. If you haven't heard the news, last month EA announced that there will be no Sims 5 and that Project Renee will be an online multiplayer experience. With this revelation, EA also announced that they're going to continue releasing DLC for The Sims 4, which is going to be their focus moving forward. With the way Sims 4 has been going over the past decade, it's easy to see why players are becoming skeptical about the franchise's longevity. After all, it's hard to stay positive when all we've gotten over the past 10 years are bugs, game-breaking glitches, and overpriced expansions. But many things can be done to improve The Sims 4, some of which were even acknowledged by EA themselves. So let's jump in and see what needs to be done if Sims 4 is going to survive for another 10 plus years. First and foremost, this game desperately needs a next gen or a 2.0 update. If you're unfamiliar with what a next gen update is, basically it's an update for older games, bringing them more up to date in terms of graphics, performance, and things like that. It's very common for games with any amount of longevity. In my opinion, a next gen update is the only way that Sims 4 is going to last into the next generation, with all these other new life simulator games coming out by competitors. I mean, come on, these graphics were bad in 2014 when the game launched, but in 2024, this is just horrendous. We're talking about a game that released in the same year as Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. I mean, if that's not old, I don't know what is. This game will greatly benefit from an improved engine, better graphics, and overall stability enhancements. The biggest thing for me right now is the graphics. I mean, if they just updated that alone, I'd probably be content with the game in its current state. Another thing that's desperately needed in this game, along with the graphics overhaul, is better animations. If you play Sims 2 or Sims 3, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We also need far better DLC compatibility. As you know, if you have a large number of DLCs installed, the game will start to stutter and slow down once you start getting up there. Just imagine if EA fixed this and we no longer had to deal with this issue. Playing this game in 2024 feels like you're playing an extremely outdated game. Granted, the game is very easy to run on almost any system. While it's clear that Sims 4 desperately needs a next-gen update, EA has acknowledged these issues in their blog post, citing continued death, improvements, and modernization coming to Sims 4 in the near future. We'll just have to wait and see if they act on it. Another crucial area of focus, as I'm sure we all know, needs to be the DLC. If they're going to continue releasing new expansions at $40, they're going to have to drastically improve the quality moving forward. I know a lot of you guys are Sims fans and only play Sims games, but just think about this for a second. Some of the best games of this generation don't even charge $40 for DLC, and they come with way more content than you'd ever find in a Sims 4 expansion. I mean, shit, you can even find entire games worth hundreds of hours of gameplay for less than $40. However, thanks to some recent changes that EA has been making, it seems that their new DLC might not be as bad as what we used to get. They've been placing more emphasis on the community and a new playtesting program known as the Sims Labs. This could lead to better DLC, as I mentioned before, or it could just be to give off an appearance. At some point, EA also realized that the lots in the base game and the DLCs that they were releasing were completely mediocre, so they called in content creators from the community to help design lots, making these expansions a little bit more bearable. Definitely a plus over the terrible lots we used to get before. Overall, definitely a step in the right direction, but how big a step is a different question in itself. It feels like EA is definitely stuck in their own little universe at the moment, scared to innovate or think outside of the box. One thing I would really love to see in The Sims is brand collabs for items such as clothing, cars, food, you name it. I mean, even Sims 2 had an H&M collab. Just imagine if we had something like that in Sims 4. That would just blow me away. With the recent focus on the community and playtesting program, it does seem like they may be headed in the right direction. The new Life and Death expansion actually looks promising from what I can see, and it's the first expansion I've seriously considered buying at full price in years from The Sims 4. Are these new playtesting and community features actually leading to better DLC? Could this be the start of new DLC actually being good, or is it just a front to look good for investors? We'll just have to wait until the DLC comes out to find out if it's just another marketing gimmick. But even if the new DLC is going to be better moving forward, it's still going to be hard to justify continuously dropping $40 on every new expansion, especially when landmark DLCs such as Seasons and University Life have already released. I mean, the game's already been out for 10 years and had God knows how many expansions released. At some point, there's going to be no topic interesting enough that a large portion of the player base is going to want to go out and purchase it. They're going to be making expansions for a very select few players. All the major breadwinners are already here. We already have Seasons, we have Cats and Dogs, you know what I mean? What can they possibly drop? Unless it's something legendary, something groundbreaking, like a Cars, an open world expansion or something like that, it's really not a must-have. We already have all the must-haves. Even if you can pick up these expansions at 50% off, which you normally can because they're always on sale, $20 still feels steep when I know that that same $20 can get me so much more anywhere on the gaming market. However, I still respect their decision to recognize that people aren't going to go down this money pit again if The Sims 5 would have released. At least we know EA isn't completely unaware of how the community feels, am I right? Now, I know what you're probably thinking. If there's no Sims 5, then what about Project Renee that they've been working on for years now? Well, I'm sad to tell you that Project Renee is actually going to be an online multiplayer mobile game from the looks of it. So I won't even waste my breath or your time talking about it. Given how much room for improvement there still is in Sims 4, I'm very hopeful that EA will give it the overhaul that it so desperately deserves. But after a whole decade of boring expansions and game-breaking glitches, it's hard to tell exactly where the Sims series is headed. If EA truly wants Sims 4 to be the game that we play for another 10 years into the future, huge changes need to take place. What do you think is going to happen to the Sims franchise? Let me know down in the comments. And be sure to let me know some of your most requested Sims 4 features as well. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and don't forget to subscribe for more Sims content.